So, dear devotees, Dandavat, dear Srimati Kumkum Devi Dasi, Dandavat, dear devotees. Today we have like unique and exclusive opportunity to talk with our great devotee who had opportunity to know. She's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and she had opportunity to know him, and then she came to Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. So yeah, really, it's such. We are such in a like good luck to have possibility to talk to devotees like Srimati Kumkum Devi Dasi. And while devotees are thinking, or maybe if somebody already has some questions, you may raise your hand, you may turn on your microphone or write in the chat box. And Kumkum, maybe you'll like to share some devotional news with us, you know, some mood, whatever you want.
Well, I think all of you all know that to be here in Villa Govinda and to be hearing from such great devotees all the time is so special. And it's everybody knows this, but it can't be said enough. For myself, I have to say that even after practicing for so many years, I still feel complete enrichment every single day that I hear from the devotees senior devotees who are linked to our gurus. So it's not just to be initiated or just to have a guru, but to really have that connection getting deeper and deeper, because it's our heart becoming very happy. And that means that our faith is getting big, and that's everything. And of course, you all know that already.
You know, I very often remember your phrase when I was going back to Ukraine from our parikrama in India. And you told me, I tell you that, you know, I have this necessity to go like more quick than I planned because, you know, I have this feeling inside. And you told me that it's good that you still can hear, can listen to your heart. And I recall this phrase very often because sometimes I think, but what does this actually mean? You know, like well, we can interpret this in many ways. So maybe you can also share what does this mean to you, and how do you feel it to listen to your heart?
Well, there are many people, especially those with a gentle nature, a feminine nature, even men that we know who have a very sweet, gentle side, who love to hear the phrase, listen to your heart, all the answers are in your heart. The Lord is speaking to you in your heart. However, this can be something mundane. I mean, even every mundane song, love song, whatever. It's full of descriptions of the heart and these kind of connections. So by practicing Krishna consciousness, we're in such shelter that this won't become a mundane sentiment. The reason people are so attracted to this love, this kind of love, where they're sure that their heart is telling them the correct thing, is because that is our natural position. There is nothing higher that anyone wants. Even in the other species, this is what everyone wants. This love, which may be interpreted as security, of course, affection, um, sense of being taken care of and having a perfect guardian, the very best of friends. But what our gurus are giving us is the practice that when they ask us to please chant Hare Krishna all the time, they're representing Sriman Mahaprabhu. And we may not in the beginning be able to tell the difference with what we have known for so long and transcendental love. But by practicing, it does begin to wake us up. This is a fact, and we will experience that we're beginning to wake up to the real love and affection. And that one never diminishes, never goes away. And we begin to feel that we are on the perfect path. And we can always look back. What about 5 years ago or 10 years ago or more? And what did I really have at that time? I can't say that it was as substantial as it is now. So that is our proof. It's not just some beautiful poetry set to music or some words, any kind like that, or something that feels like what we think love must be. It's a matter of substance, genuine.
Can we say that it's like this Chaitya-guru inside us talking, or it's a little bit different?
When we were searching, maybe consciously, for many people, it was a little bit unconscious, but we still stumbled somehow to the lotus feet of such a perfect guru. But nevertheless, it captured us. And this is Chaitya-guru. We may understand or not understand, but we are being captured in such a way that we gain more than we even thought that we were looking.
Right.
Yeah,
And
we can always remember that, that there was a time when I was really lost, and I can easily recall what kind of illusions that I was pursuing to be exactly the highest kind of knowledge and understanding, the highest of everything. And now it's such a simple matter to see that, no, that wasn't really giving me anything. So we decide to try to practice better and better all the time because it saves so much pain. All of those conceptions of mundane love being the real thing, they almost always end in such tragedy. I know when I was a teenager, perhaps, and just becoming acquainted with some opera, and I could never understand, why do people want to listen to opera? The notes are beautiful, the voices, it's quite incredible. The talent and the skill is unbelievable. But as far as people would say, it just expresses the pain that I feel so perfectly. And I would always think, boy, my desire is higher than that. I don't want to just be able to express the pain perfectly.
And maybe also you could give some advice for devotees how to accept really all this, like kinds of suffering, because in one or another way we meet it in our life. So how to accept this like an experience, not like, like some mistakes or some severe actions, but just like some experience on our spiritual path.
Yes, this is definitely one of the best questions that we can be pursuing. And there was how we understood this in our first encounters with Vaishnavas, and then how 1 year later we had more of a background to understand this. And this will never go away. We will always desire to build our understanding. And first thing for me, for many people, is a philosophical background. We hear from the Vaishnavas, and somebody who's been a Vaishnava practicing for 1 week or 1 month longer than we have, this is like solid gold. But we can read Bhagavad Gita. This is like if we buy something, perhaps a new phone or anything, we're really glad if there's an excellent user manual. And this Bhagavad Gita is the user manual for the human life, the purpose of human life. And so we begin to understand about karma, and that we have been in charge of our own behavior. And we don't want to blame others, meaning the environment means mostly it means other people. And we see many, many people, including ourselves at first, that we want to find where blame belongs when something is painful. And we may even think things like, but I chant Hare Krishna. I became initiated by my guru and he's perfect and I follow him as well as I can. Why do I still have suffering? And so the requirement is for us to go as deep and then go deeper. When I worked in corporate America for so long, there was one explanation that was very helpful, and this was only about basic maturity in the form of learning to get along with other people and other cultures and everything. But it compared our wisdom that grows through our life to a spiral. Do you know what a spiral is? And you could say go from up to down, becoming deeper, or you could say go from down to up, that reaching a higher level. But either way, it's that we learn something, and it may be that it's due to our karma, and then we that gives us great relief. And then later we start realizing we have many more questions, and we want to go deeper with that. And they used to point out that when you keep going and keep going, then at one point you realize you're exactly talking about the same point that you learned long ago, but you're at a different level with that understanding. And I've always found that to be very good for understanding Krishna consciousness. Like on the point of why do I still have to suffer? um, that will come up after some time because I am still suffering, sometimes terribly. Or I know somebody who is, and that breaks my heart. But then when we understand that, we ultimately get to thinking that there is no time when Krishna made an oops. He never made a mistake in what it is that we need. And he may even change what we were supposed to get because we're constantly changing. We are meant to surrender totally to him, which seems completely impossible. And sometimes we don't like to. I really want to be a devotee, and it occurs to us, I really don't think there's any better path. But oh no, I'm not a pure devotee. That means I'm going to be this miserable, and I'm going to be this conscious of pain and suffering until I'm a pure devotee. Like, this is not possible to tolerate. So then we come around more and, well, we associate with devotees. We share our confidential thoughts with devotees who are either like us, that we trust so much that we believe or trying to follow our gurus and understand what they are giving us so much. And then we start to feel like I'm somewhere on the right path, and that is enough. And so my suffering goes away, like the example of when the first rays of the sun come after a very horrible night. It can be such a horrible night with thunder and lightning and dark. You can't even see, there's no moon, and you don't know if you should go to the left or the right or how you're going to protect yourself. But when the first ray of sunlight comes, you start to put things together. You start to understand how this, what appears to be terrible, how you can respond to that. And it might not be impossible after all. And then we all know eventually the sun is high in the sky. It's beautiful. There's no problems. So that our path is something like that, where we wish that it could just happen immediately, but there's always some reason And finding out what that reason is becomes the proof to us that Krishna is in our heart, that he is real. If I was supposed to have, inherit a great mansion with servants and riches like Sudama Brahman, but that would be Krishna's grace. But what if he wants to give me something that will be a better lesson for me, that will clarify me? We can come to the conclusion that the real problem is my ignorance. So the best friend and the best karma to happen to me is something that clarifies all of that, like Cheto Darpana Marjanam. We want to chant, then if we don't think our chanting is producing such results that we like, then it comes to us lessons about offenses and how to avoid them. And it becomes, oh my goodness, this is really valuable. When we go to a doctor and we know the doctor is great and we know the medicine is right, but if it doesn't seem to be working, then we go back and learn more. We find out we were supposed to put it under our tongue, not just anywhere, or not, mix it with water. We learn that we are doing something, and that becomes the most valuable thing, and I can accept that.
Thank you for such a wonderful description and with such a wonderful examples. Really, it is something I'm living now. I lately had some problem with my ear, and it was like first, of course, like I had some pain and suffered, and then I thought, well, okay, maybe it's like already the age, and maybe I just will be deaf from that moment. So I just accepted, and then when the disease like left me, and it was such a relief, and I thought, oh, life is so wonderful, I can hear everything again.
Yeah.
So, and of course, yeah, every suffering must to teach us something. So
right. And life actually is wonderful. That is an amazing understanding when there is no illusion, except as much as we require. Just like if you have a child or if you have care of some child, sometimes you have to speak strongly to them. They're immature. And so beyond that, though, is some amazing beauty. It's not that there's Krishna or the Lord and then the devil. We may get Maharaj's a glimpse of him in a moment.
well,
And the Lord is worried about maybe the devil is stronger. It's not like that. That's not true. But what is true is that Krishna is everything, and he's the source of beauty and all knowledge and charm, and we can't resist him. We think that there are things in this world which are so charming, I'll never be able to give them up. And that's a sign of our health, that we are alive, that we want love, we want real love. And so we've learned to, perhaps somebody had bad karma to not recognize when a person was really bad for them, like exploitation or cheating them or so many things. And that can be gone quickly because that's part of illusion. So if we're suffering, we want to get rid of illusion wholesale. We want to wake up from the bad dream. This means we want to wake up from the good dream too, just because it's not nearly as good as reality. And everybody prefers a good dream to a bad, scary dream. But ultimately, we're meant to wake up, and we can practice. The more we hear from so many books, so many scriptures, and we have the association of so many senior devotees who can illuminate their meaning for us incredibly well. The more we begin to the truth, meaning beauty, And real love was always there. Just like if I'm having a bad dream, but I'm really sleeping in my comfortable, safe bed, that was always the case. I simply didn't know it. Illusion was too strong. But it doesn't mean that there's something wrong if we look outside. And you know what I'm looking at right now, and it's springtime. I tried to sit out at the gazebo, by the way. It's amazing. And then behind would have been, but the sun was shining too hard. But it's very good if these are the things that we're attracted to. There's things which are attractive in various modes of nature, and even in the very beginning, we start becoming more and more attached to higher things, not things which will hurt us or make us so out of it with intoxicants or something like that, or with anger toward other people that we don't know how to control. It's not that those things will be very prevalent in the life of someone who's seriously practicing. This means that we're meant to see beauty and know beauty ASAP.
Yeah, but sometimes I still think that, you know, everybody likes like good people, but who is going to like not so good people? Maybe
Yeah,
mercy is also in this, you know, to see something beautiful in something not so beautiful.
it's true. And this might be a difficult process. We may have some karma where we owe somebody something and they get to distress us, they get to hurt us. So at least it's in the past. As soon as that happens, then we can say, now that debt is paid, at least. And I have better understanding how not to create that same kind of debt more. Just leave that. That's a thing of the past now.
Thank you so much. Dear devotees, I am very happy to have this sweet conversation with Kumkum, but maybe you also would like to join with your questions, sharing. Please write in the chat box in any language, Russian, Ukrainian, English, Spain, or just raise your hand.
I'm just now
And
switching to gallery view, so it's good to see everyone.
yeah, we have Nazar from Ukraine,
Oh, there's
Rasananda from
Nazar.
Moscow. Yeah,
Speaking of
Shamali.
beauty, we love this kirtan guide so much.
Yeah, it's
Rasananda
very
for
useful.
yeah, and here's a Narayani, missing you, and Srila Govinda. And there's another Narayani. That's not you, is it? You're the one that says, yeah. Who is the other Narayani? That
I think she's just controlling it from the phone.
okay. Priyananda. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, I believe I had your association decades ago. And Rupanuga Prabhu, who's been traveling so much. I met him in Thailand, wonderful Govinda farm, and years ago. And now it seems he's going all over the world hearing about Vaishnavism all the time. Here's Shanti Moy busily working. You know how the devotees in Villa Govinda cook and cook and cook.
Yeah, very delicious.
I
Prasadam. I'm trying, you know, to prepare something similar also sometimes in Kiev ashram, but it's like, you know, just
yeah.
like twice.
See.
Okay, well, then maybe you'd like to share some pastimes with Srila Prabhupada or Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, because lately I have heard this before, but lately it struck me even much than before. Srila Madhusudan Maharaj told that, like, can you imagine now we have all this knowledge already, like teaching of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, and we have all in our like access. we can listen, we can read, and like previous generation of devotees, they had to wait for years, you know. It's like it was like step by step by step. So yeah, how did it feel for you, like, you know, like to open this? Of course, it is impossible to say that now we know all, but at least we have more access to this divine knowledge.
Probably one of the most important and surprising understandings that have come to me after 50 something years is something that Srila Prabhupada said to the League of Devotees in Mumbai in 1937 perhaps. And he said, Guru is one, and he appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. And probably everyone has read this many times in Intro to Sri Guru and His Grace. And Goswami Maharaj likes to point out that if anyone else had said that, people would be saying, oh, what Mayavadi. Because in the early days in ISKCON, we heard so much about the importance of following your guru and have total allegiance to your guru. And we assumed that Jagat Guru meant like the guru, meaning the only guru in the universe. And so think we're on a bodily platform. So also thinking guru is that body, that embodiment. And so when I heard that he had said that, it was a great relief because by then he had departed and we had been blessed to be connected with Srila Guru Maharaj. And so we had experienced seriously and could not deny it, the same realization that this is my guru. He is speaking what is in my heart better than I can say the words myself, and even bringing up questions that are in my heart that I've never brought to the surface well enough. And this was exactly the same feeling that we had when we wanted to surrender to Srila Prabhupada. And this was confirmed to me many times. I got to have a good long conversation with Srila Gurudeva about this, that when we experience that our guru has come to us, we may not know anything about even the word guru. I know for myself, I definitely never heard that word before. I had a vague conception on what is India. I had been told India is this primitive country where they live in dirt and don't wear shoes. That was sort of the extent of what, with my so-called education, including university, that I knew about that holy land. And then when I first got the words of Srila Prabhupada in the form of his magazine and the prayer that he wrote just before disembarking the boat and getting into America, then I knew without the slightest doubt that there is a God. He knows him. So, and he's not making anything up. It was so obvious that he was completely sincerely speaking to God. So there had to be one who was a person who you could talk to, who could help you understand things. And I had his race confused. There was a picture of him, and he was all wrapped up in a chadar, and I thought he was African American woman, and that didn't matter in the slightest. In fact, from my childhood experience, this would be the most appropriate form for the guru for me. But then later, when we got the mercy of Srila Guru Maharaj, and we started hearing from him, my first thought was, here's somebody who knows Srila Prabhupada. There had been so much speculation. It had been about 4 or 5 years since he had left the planet. And But then when I heard about Srila Guru Maharaj and heard him speak and heard the many questions and answers, then I thought, he knows Srila Prabhupada. He's so senior. This is somebody who actually knows my guru. So naturally, I have much to gain from hearing from him, especially for people like me who were asking him questions, were actually sitting at his feet. This is a very great Vaishnava. And I still remember when my heart turned, and it was exactly the same feeling when I had first heard from Srila Prabhupada, coming from no spiritual understanding, that all of these high points, there is a God, I must meet him, he will give me God. This is the truth. And then when I realized that I had those same feelings for Srila Guru Maharaj, how could this happen again? So we began understanding that when we had learned that our guru, we would never leave our guru, that this didn't mean that in that one embodiment. That's never what Srila Prabhupada meant when he would tell us things like that. But there weren't so many books, there weren't so many senior devotees, and it had been based on people who we were more trained in Western culture, where there's much prominence about the conception of God is that he's very much into justice, and he's going to smite people who don't, or if they commit some sin, then they may go to hell forever. And this was the influence. And so there was a real filter on what Srila Prabhupada was teaching us, and we needed to hear further. We had so many questions. Srila Prabhupada had awakened perfect desire in us. And so then we heard Srila Guru Maharaj speak and gradually came to understand this was the same thing, same feeling, same recognition. This Chaitya-guru is non-different from the perfect Vaishnava. And the perfect Vaishnavas are in our heart as well. And then, lo and behold, we found that for a third time with Srila Gurudeva, and also expecting, we had known him as a perfect servitor of Srila Guru Maharaj, so naturally we wanted to get to know him, and he called us Prabhu. He spoke to us as if we were on his godbrother level. And now we have a glimpse of his humility. And we hear the same thing from our modern dear friends who are currently giving us the same perfect message coming from Sriman Mahaprabhu. Because this is what Sriman Mahaprabhu wants. He is Krishna, he's Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and this is his intention for us to all enter this perfect love with him and not have to have any suffering at all. So that's what leads us to the conclusion that as long as we're somewhere on this path and not deviating, that that's as perfect as when we actually reach the destination. So much more to learn. What if Krishna has plans for me to be an illusion? I don't know why he would, but he might, and that's fine too. It's about if I'm trying to sincerely surrender to him every minute of every day, and he just keeps giving us more and more assistance to try to purify ourselves.
Thank you very much. Such a sweet and helpful words. And Rasananda Das Prabhu is saying us that he will have his appearance day on 15th of May, so we can send him some blessings in advance to greet him and to support. And also, maybe would you like to share some plans? I remember this interview with Pandita Devi Dasi, and you were discussing maybe some programs in London or in some other ashrams.
Well, now I have gotten my permanent residency for here, Villa Govinda, and I'm finding that I can't really imagine too much travel right now. But Srila Gurudev, our gurus are here so much, just like they are in all of the temples. But I'm very, very happy to say that Rasamai Pandita is traveling. In fact, right now, you may know I think it's Lithuania.
Or Latvia, probably. Yeah?
Latvia.
Latvia, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And of course, one of the main reasons I wanted to go to programs with her is because her association is just fantastic. And we see that there are more and more devotees who are who've really understood well how to help their guru, or a perfect follower of their guru who has some authority or necessity to plan things and how to spread our guru's message. And we see that there are some people who are quite expert at building teams who can do those things. And when they see a person who may have some quality, some capacity, then they keep making it easier and easier and easier for them. Give them all assistance, give a little nudge when that's necessary. But because they see such value in every single devotee, because there should be many teams of people traveling. We certainly see that in our dear Pandita. And so she has the understanding to become proficient in many ways. One is to never lose a moment of time. How can there be so many more than 24 hours in one day? And definitely to never offend, and to be able to play mridanga and lead kirtan. And this is a really useful thing to be able to serve your guru. Here in Villa Govinda, they're going out on Harinam in Leko in just a couple of hours. And just to think of so many people who'll get this, hear this sound, and they'll definitely see beauty, but a different kind of beauty, the one that, touches your heart and overwhelms you. So I myself am not thinking too much. There's the end unit here is the work is going on very nicely there. And so for Villa Govinda to have even more facility is very pleasing. And so that work is going on. And I about Pandita and people like that, it's very encouraging to see how Srila Madhusudana Maharaj, who is a wonderful representative of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, by performing the service of being a guru to other sincere souls, it's very wonderful to see how he can build. And that means this world is much, much better off. And that's why he will never stop trying his best to give facility. It's like a surgeon. If there's a great surgeon and there's a patient and they need to have surgery, and the surgeon knows everything, how to diagnose, and he also knows how to treat, exactly what treatment is needed. So he wants to have qualified people. He can use some assistance, and he values them very much, and they know that he values them. At any moment when their particular capacity is needed, he'll bring them forward, and then they'll know. They may be medical students themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. You talked about Rasamoi Pandita and other devotees, and by the way, really kirtans and bhajans singing by Rasamoi Pandita, they are touching some hidden strings of my heart and my soul. It's something incredible, and they are so, like non-classical maybe in some ways, but very, very gentle and very heartful. And I thought also, how do you see the development of our devotees family? I mean, you already like spent so many years in different ashrams, and you've seen like devotees from the beginning when Srila Prabhupada, I mean, brought this knowledge to the West, and now do we become more humble, more tolerant?
Well, you know,
What can you say?
one famous quote from Srila Prabhupada, well, from Srila Gurudeva about Srila Prabhupada is when people asked him, why did he always say the four regulative principles like no meat eating? And he didn't say about Trinada Pisunichena. And Gurudev said, because there weren't any devotees when he first came. So there was no question of having to really let people know that you mustn't offend devotees. But there were a lot of people that, now I'm saying it myself, Gurudev didn't say this part, but there were many people who had to understand you can't be taking intoxication, especially not to such an extent, and think that forever you can continue like that, and also make progress in the fact of an understanding this world is illusory, is directly adding illusion. And so these were his priorities, and he had everyone repeat those at initiation. And Srila Gurudev observed for many years in his service to Srila Guru Maharaj to help bring us all along. We gained much from Srila Guru Maharaj to understand the actual treasure that Srila Prabhupada had brought. We gained much, but then unfortunately we had his departure hit us too hard too. And then Srila Gurudev served like this for at minimum 25 years, Jai Anandita Didi. And he observed and he concluded that this was one of the most important things that we needed to truly understand. He looked at the situation so deeply, and someone asked him one time, why do you always see this? I know for myself, I once counted 6 signs on his veranda, just one room in Dum Dum Park in Calcutta, where he had published Trinarupis, Unichena Tororpis. And when somebody asked him, why did he emphasize this so much? And his answer was, because it is the only thing that will work. And now I see that so much in all of our gurus' teachings, and quoting Mahaprabhu directly too, that to make an offense of any kind is a guarantee that we will not go very deep. We can't be going very deeply. This could be true of any kind of a teacher. If you want to be a great chef and you approach a chef, they don't have to really reveal to you what they know. But if they're very pleased and they see a lot of hope in you, then like perhaps they want to make sure you can play with your whole heart or something. I mean, cook with your whole heart. Who will they see that in? And that's who naturally will get the best attention and clarity. The guru will always be looking for a way to wake up their transcendental vision, because there's so much hope in them. If they're really trying to chant without offense, to serve without offense. What was it yesterday? Day before yesterday, that was Ekadashi. And there was Oh, and of course, full fast the day before that. I've got my days mixed up. But we used to think that sign of an advanced devotee or sign we were making of it was how long we could go fasting. This would be the sign, or how many more than 16 rounds we could chant in a day, or could we have them all finished by 7 a.m. because the schedule was very early morning artik and then a Bhagavatam class and then chant japa, and then the deities were being dressed at this time, and the curtains would open after they're fully dressed at 7 a.m. And so many people would be showing their counter beads, and we would smile at each other if it was 16 before 7 a.m. So this is very wonderful, but if it led to arrogance, it was rather amateur, rather elementary, I should say. So why humility? How, if we know anything about Krishna, especially Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu is Krishna. And then the first like 3 chapters or so of the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, and when Mahaprabhu is speaking, but it branches out into all of the branches, and who is Lord Vishnu, how the creation, everything. How can we not have humility if we hearing about truly great people? Even Lord Mahavishnu is praying for pure service and pure attitude of service. How can, if we don't have some humility, then how can we be getting close to who is Krishna and where we fit in? So humility is definitely our friend, and we can cultivate that by observing those who have humility, even our peers. But what to speak of the Parshada devotees of Mahaprabhu, and they're always saying such humble things to each other, and they really mean it. And of course, in our kirtan guide, so many songs of such depth and prayer to be more humble and to be more surrendered. It's unbelievable. Especially to have some gist of at least not to offend not to offend others. How does that help us to understand that Krishna is in control? How could we be in control of anything?
Yeah, simple things that sometimes it's so difficult to complete, to follow.
Mm.
Humility
It
and not to
must be.
offend others.
Right. I know in the very beginning of this life, I did not have much devotion. So, how could so quickly, just in a few years, how could I have something that I would be proud of? I've just begun. How could I be proud? Especially the kind of pride that is in arrogance and bullying and thinking I should have everything.
Yeah. Dear
Or
devotees, we still, sorry, yeah.
I was just going to say, especially if we know clearly something belongs to somebody else and we devise a way to take it for ourselves, some exploitation or something. How? What were you going to say?
I just wanted to encourage the devotees. We still have time, for some questions or heart sharing, whatever, some comments. Please
Yes.
don't be shy.
Yes.
Narayani turned on her camera. Maybe she would like to ask something. No, I don't put you on the spot. Okay. Well, she I also wanted to then, okay, then I continue. I have such a great, pleasure today, so I will definitely use this opportunity. So I would like to ask also, how did you manage to combine your serious material work, job, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, with your devotional life? Did you preach? I mean, did your colleagues know that you are in Krishna consciousness? How all these things were going, like practically?
Mm-hmm. Um, it was constantly changing, and we're taught that every single living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, and also that he never ever pushes somebody against their will. And of course, we know that it's an offense to preach to those who have no faith at all. So gradually, by trying, I mean, you just have to read a person. A salesman reads a person, right? If they want somebody to buy this car or whatever, they're really trying to understand what that person likes and what matters to them. So to be around people for many, many hours of the day, and sometimes in deep association, but association not in the sense of the heart sharing, but in the sense of the mind and the thoughts. And we had, of course, had experience being in university and talking with people all the time, speculating about what we think is truth, not even knowing there's different levels of truth, and we're really looking for absolute, the highest truth. So we had some experience of how to relate to people and how to relate when they really have an objection to if somebody wants to share their thoughts. And definitely somebody like that, we just wish them well. We want them to experience some kindness because maybe they will connect that with Krishna sometime. Maybe it will come to them. And I know very well in this life, I had a little bit of Sukriti, and that's why I got so much more. That's why I had complete blessings of Lord Nityananda, who brought me to Srila Prabhupada. But there are those who, maybe because where I was in Silicon Valley in California, working for about 30 years, so many Indians were there and many high-minded people too. And so they would have good questions, but it really depends on their Sukriti and their desire. And so it's never the same answer for the same person, but very gradually to, first of all, always give kindness, always understand that they can't be harmed by thinking such good thoughts. If they see something of my guru reflecting in me in the way I deal with the mundane situation, even if they have no idea that they're beginning to be attracted to the qualities of the Vaishnava. Once I was traveling by airplane to come to see Guru Maharaj, actually, not to do with work, but I was traveling with a wonderful disciple, a wonderful god sister of mine named Jagamohini Didi. If you ever get the opportunity to find out why so many devotees, including Madhusudana Maharaj, really have a lot of regard for her. And we didn't live in the same place ever, but we were very close. And she, was one who recognized Srila Guru Maharaj right away after the departure of Srila Prabhupada, and then Srila Gurudeva, and went to Navadvip Dham as much as she could. And sometimes on the website, you'll see this article, like on a special holy day, was written by Jagamohini Didi, because she was very good at summarizing things because she was so good at listening and reflecting. And I knew that her profession was actually working in the local school system in Portland, Oregon, or maybe it was a different city, but that was her profession. And her job in that was to try to convince people to overcome illiteracy. You know what that word means? And
Yeah.
because it would be reflected in the children, often she would find out that it was because the parents were illiterate and somehow they had never been able to read or write. And they had not replaced that with devotion to Mahaprabhu. So it's a very big, important thing if somebody can read and learn these things. And so she was encouraged in that way to help them. But she had to totally hide everything about Krishna consciousness. She couldn't say that's not what she was hired to do. But I noticed once when we had a long layover in one airport, and she was smiling very big and for a long time. And finally I turned to her and I saw that she was watching the same family for a long time. The whole time she was smiling bigger and bigger. And what she saw in that family, the loving exchange between all the family members and how the parents were truly helping that child, was so sweet. And I just thought, she's really thinking about our gurus and by reflecting who they are. But she's taken all of their, I've known her for so long and know her surrender, her absolute surrender to Srila Prabhupada from the beginning, now close to 60 years. And that she can't not see Mahaprabhu in good qualities in people. And she did get in a conversation with that family, and I was just listening, and I would never have thought about engaging with them in a way that simply made them so happy. But it kind of turned around what they were going through. They became really happy and joyous and affectionate with each other, definitely with her. And I'm sure that they still remember this saintly person that they met one time in an airport. So things like that sort of sum up how I was able to get by. You have to have like two different tracks in your mind. There's what they hired you for, so you have to supply what your employer is expecting from you because they're paying you to do that. And that you will be able to use in your guru's service. So that's really not bad. And then on the other hand, you want to always remember Krishna and never forget him. So in the worst case, you can think about how Bhagavad Gita explains about the modes of nature are always in competition, so sometimes the mode of goodness is highest, sometimes the mode of passion. You see such tragic things when they treat each other badly, and it's not your job to do anything about it, and you couldn't anyway, then you can just see now the material nature is allowing for reasons of millions of births that all of these people get together and hurt each other. That's what is their due. And then, of course, the same with the mode of ignorance. That can be a very, very unhappy situation too. But it's all under Krishna's control, and we can be the observers, like the very, very young med students who are trying to watch the great surgeon and see if there's anything they can do. They'll gladly do.
Thank you so much. And I hear the ring bells. Yeah,
That's true. So now it's noon.
The bell rings. Right.
Yeah.
It's good example you told to have the two tracks in your mind, because I always trying to find balance between to be sincere and to be honest, like with myself, but not to be like too sincere, not to frighten people, not to be like religious fanatics or something.
Exactly. What will really help them, we can simply pray, make me an instrument of thy peace. Like I always like that one. I was not a very good Christian, but there were a couple of verses that were just exactly, And that, of course, is in Srila Prabhupada's prayer. You make me a success or a failure. as you like. I am your puppet. That was what I read in that prayer that convinced me about him without knowing anything else, that he knows where he fits in. He has no anxiety.
Yes. Anxiety is our enemy sometimes, really. You think that you must do things very quick, or like you are the controller, you are the doer.
Yeah.
You must step in.
Yeah. But anxiety.
Okay, yeah, time goes so quickly.
Oh,
Thank you very much
I really
for this
benefited from
beautiful
all your
conversation.
association. And we definitely hope that Rasananda Prabhu will have buono compleanno next week.
Yeah. I missed you so much. Last time I was in Villa Govinda, everything goes very fast, and I didn't have the possibility even like to say goodbye you in this last moment. And I thought about it, and this Zoom is like like a gift for me.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. We're very grateful to the people who made Zoom. It's just such a good, there were a few, but Zoom is really a good one.
Yes, and thank you, Narayani.
Yes.
Devi Dasi for the organization. Thank you, devotees, for listening us. I hope our conversation will help you to progress in your devotional life, in your spiritual lives. Thank you, Priyanana Devi Dasi, for translation. And of course, thank you so much, Srimati Kumkum Devi Dasi. Jai Srimati Kumkum Devi Dasi ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srila Guru
Jai.
Maharaj. Jai Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila
Jai.
Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Maybe you'd
Okay.
like to say some few words of inspiration for us.
Always remember that all praise is for Sri Guru. All wealth is for Lord Narayan. All enjoyment is for Krishna. All praise being for Sri Guru will always keep us in the position of I desire to be Das, Anudas, Anudas.
Thank you very much for this remembering.
My Dhanavat to you all. Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudeva, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Madhusudan Maharaj. I don't think he can hear me.
Okay. Bye bye, everybody.
Okay.
Wish you a
Jai.
nice devotional Seva day.
See.
Okay. Ciao. Bye bye, Dandavat.
Dandavat.